Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Marathon Day, which is the one where we take on the bigger catalogues. And today, it's a sort of a request. I know one of the biggest fans of this band, and that's Simon, and we're doing Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers today. And Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, of course, were a great American rock band formed in Gainesville, Florida back in 1976. The original lineup of the band, of course, is Tom Petty, who's the singer and rhythm guitarist, Mike Campbell on the guitars, keyboardist Ben Montench, on the drums the one and only Mr. Stan Lynch, and on the bass was Ron Blair. But in 1982, Ron was getting weary of touring, so they brought in Howie Epstein, who drummed for them for 2 decades. But then Scott Thurston joined them as a rhythm guitarist and secondary keyboard player. Stan left in '94 and Steve Ferroni came in. Blair did return in 2002, a year before Epstein's death. The band were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002, which was their first year of eligibility. 13 albums. They're all good. This was another toughie. I just had to, it was a case of listening to them all again and thinking which ones are my favourites. I mean, I like every album. Each album has its unique selling points. So here we go. So coming in at number 13, from 1985, the 6th album, Southern Accents. Now playing on here are Tom Petty, Mike Campbell, Ben Montench, Howie Epstein and Stan Lynch. First track on this one is called Rebels. Now, considering it was made mid-80s, there's none of that 80s production on it. Except the drumming, of course. They just seem to... Yeah, I mean, they've kept Stan under the leash. I mean, it's not good, but it's still the best track on here. Regardless of the drumming, to be honest. It's just a great choice. Then we got Ain't Nothing to Me. It's okay. It does sound like the Rolling Stones at the time as well. Probably the weakest track on here, and it doesn't mean it's a bad track, but it's not as good as some of the others. Don't Come Around Here No More. Interesting track. It's got a different sort of sound to it, but it's okay. Southern Accents. It's a good rock track. I like that one. It's got Mike's guitars sounds great on that, and so it is. It's pretty good. Then we've got Make It Better, Forget About Me. A little bit of that 80s production creeping in, but it's still a good rocker. Nice guitar solo on it. Spike is another good track. It's a quirky little number with some great backing vocals on it. Dogs on the Run, pretty cool track. I like that one as well. Mary's New Car. I'm not a great lover of this one. It seems to be... It is a little bit weaker than the others. And the Best of Everything, I think this was aimed at the MTV fodder. It's not the best. Okay, I do like this album, but I think it is the weakest of their albums. It hasn't got much of the 80s thing, but there are tracks on here that was sort of very geared up for MTV. But it's still a good listen, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, coming in at number 12 from 1987, we've got Let Me Up, I've Had Enough. So it's Tom, Mike, Vermont, Howie and Stan. First track on here is Jammin' Me. I think this is one of the best tracks on the album. It's my favourite track. It's just a good old-fashioned Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers song. everything, well, then what you expect, the great melodies, the great singing, it's great. Runaway Trains, I wouldn't say it's the best track on the album, but it's okay, it's still good. The Damage You've Done, a typical Heartbreakers song, solid, some great drumming from Stan as ever, great track. It All Worked Out. I've always thought this is a little bit of a whiny song, and I'm not that particularly fond of it. When you put this on, I don't skip it. I just say hurry up, because the next song, My Life, Your World, the first bit is a nice acoustic, and then it goes into a more upbeat rocker, and I do like that track. I love that switch from the acoustic sound to the electric sound. Up next, one of my favourite tracks on here, Think About Me. It's a classic, and this is the one I'm putting in the playlist today. It's one of my favourite tracks. It's just classic Tom Petty. Great piano on this, just brilliant. Vermont's piano work is great on this. All Mixed Up, another really good song, solid Tom Petty. When you hear it, you know it's Tom Petty. A Self-Made Man, another of my favourites on here. It's got such a catchy tune. That's what I like about this band. Catchy tunes, rock and roll, really good. Ain't Love Strive. This is probably one of the weaker tracks on here. Not as strong as the others, but it's still good. How many more days? Good track, great vocal from Tom on this. Everything you expect of this band. Then we have the title track, Let Me Up, I've Had Enough. Another solid track. Does what it says on the tin. Fantastic guitar playing on. This is a really good album. It's just unfortunate that we have got 13 good albums. But there's one or two I'm not keen on here, but majority of songs are great. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then, coming in at number 11, we go to the 10th album from the year 1999, and Echo. So on here we've got Tom, Mike, Benmont and Howie. Joining them is Scott Thurston, Steve Ferrone on drums, or Ferrone, and Lenny Castro on percussion. First track on this one is called Room at the Top. I love that riff in there. It's a great little riff from Mike and Tom, really good. And then you got this great bass line from Howie, excellent track. Counting on You, so many good tracks on here, and throughout his career, this is a fine example. Was cracking track, really upbeat and good track. Free Girl Now, a typical start to a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers song, that rich chords, and then it goes into the song with a wonderful melody, and it's one of my favourite tracks on the album. Lonesome Sundown comes next. It's very Bob Dylan-esque. Of course, Bob and Tom worked together in the Travelling Wilburys. I wouldn't say it's my favourite track on here, but it's very Bob Dylan vocal delivery. Swinging, not too bad at all, pretty solid. Accused of Love. This is a more of a country song, and it really works. The guitar work on it is superb. I really like this track. Echo. I like the song, but it's one of them that they could have cut a little bit out of it and condensed it a little better. It sort of loses a little bit of the flow about halfway through. They do gain it back though, but I think if they took that bit out that sort of meanders, it'd be an even better song. But my favourite track on here is a song called Won't Last Long. Just classic Heartbreakers. It's a fine vocal from Tom, and the guitar work is always brilliant. Billy the Kid next. Love this track. It's got my favourite guitar solo on this album. It is Billy the Kid. It's about Billy the Kid. Fantastic. I Don't Want to Fight. A great rocker. Strong riffs, a great bass line from Howie. It's just one of them tracks. This one's for me. There's a lot of tracks on this album. This one's one of the weaker ones. I think this is one they could have dropped off the album, and it wouldn't have made a difference. But it's okay. No More. You're just getting to know that you're getting towards the end of the album. I'm afraid this one is a little bit filler for me. I don't understand. About to Give Out is a great track. Brilliant guitar work. The singing's great on it. It's a super song. Rhino Rhino Skin is pleasant enough. One More Day, One More Night, not bad. Yeah, there's a lot of tracks on here. There's one or two that could have been omitted, but I do like this album. There's some really good playing on it, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, then coming in at number 10 from 1996, and it's songs and music from the motion picture She's the One, which served as the soundtrack to the film She's the One. So on here we've got Tom, Mike, Beaumont and Howie. Joining them on here as well is Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac, doing the background vocals on Wall Circus, Climb That Hill and Arsehole. Excuse my French. Ringo Starr does drums on Hung Up and Overdue. Carl Wilson does the harmony vocals on Hung Up and Overdue. So the first track is called Walls, and in brackets Circus. Solid opening track. Yeah, you can hear the background vocals of Lindsey on this. Yeah, definitely you can hear him. It's a good track actually. Grew Up Fast. Not a fan of this one. I think it's just a little bit dull. And it's simple as that. Zero from Outer Space. Very Bob Dylan this is. I love the guitars. The riff's good, especially them at the beginning. Then we have Climb That Hill, my favourite track on here. Written by Mike and Tom. It's got everything you expect of a Tom Petty song. The great guitar work from Mike. The vocals from Tom are brilliant. It's a really good track. Change the Locks. One of my favourites, and I love the riffs and the bass line from Howie is excellent. Angel Dream, number 4. I don't mind this. It's very quiet and gentle in places. It's very sort of subdued. Hope You Never. This is one of those tracks that you know it's Tom Petty with just hearing it. The bass line from Howie is brilliant, and the drum piece is pretty good as well. Then we've got the track Arsehole, excuse the French again. It's a slow track but funny, and it is one of my favourites, and of course you can hear Lindsey Buckingham on it. It's pretty cool. Supernatural Radio, okay, nice melodic track. California, that typical start from Tom Petty. There's some harmonica on it as well. It's pretty cool. Hope on Board, it's okay. Walls, number 3, highlighted by the harmonica on that. That's good. Angel Dream, really a nice acoustic song, very Bob Dylan again. And then we have Hung Up and Overdue. There's just something about it. There's lots going on. You've got some lovely harmonies from Carl Wilson on this. You've got Ringo's drumming as well. It's pretty good. And then the last track is called Airport. This is a short piece. It's just a bit, about a minute long, but it's very jazzy with a nice bit of organ. Now this is one of those soundtracks you don't really need to watch the film to enjoy the music, because there's some really good songs on here. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 9, we have the 13th and final album by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, released in 2014. So playing on here, we have got Tom, Mike, Beaumont, Scott Thurston, Ron Blair, Steve Ferroni. We've got Josh Jove on the fuzz guitar and Ryland Ulegate on backing vocals. So the first track on here is called American Dream Plan B. Love the opening riff, absolutely brilliant. Lovely to hear Ron Blair's bass again on this. Great stuff. Love that track. Fault Lines again. A wonderful bass line from Ron. Steve's drumming on this is terrific. He does a really good job on this album. Absolutely brilliant. Then we have Red River, the classic Ron Blair bass line, absolutely killer on this track. Full Grown Boy comes next. I love this because it's got some gentle guitar. It's got a jazzy guitar sound to it. Another great bass line and a great vocal from Tom. All You Carry On Can Carry, sorry. My favourite on here is a real heavy riff from the boys, and I think Steve's drumming on this is just fantastic. Excellent track. Power Drunk comes next. Great guitar work again. A very, very good vocal from Tom. His voice never really changed. It got a little bit deeper as time went on, but it was still a strong voice. Excellent track. Forgotten Man, love the start of this. More great bass playing from Ron Blair. Sins of My Youth, not a particular favourite of mine. It's got some nice little guitar touches on it though. You Get Me High, great track, dominated by the guitars, the rhythm of Tom, that lead of Mike, fantastic. Burnt Out Town, it's got a very bluesy feel to this. It's got a wonderful bit of harmonica on it. It's a great track. And the last track is Shadow People, just a solid track, some nice piano there from Vermont, and it's got a really good track to end the album. I think this is a great album to sign off with. There's not really a bad track on it. As I said, there's not many bad tracks by this band. They were very consistent, and this is a super album. And I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.2. Time for a drink, I think. That's better. Okay then, so coming in at number 8, we got the 5th album now. This is from 1982, and it's called Long After Dark. This was the first album that featured Howie Epstein as well. So we've got Tom, Mike, Howie, Vermont, Stan. Ron does play bass on Between Two Worlds, and we got Phil Worlds and Phil Jones does the percussion. So the first track on here is called One Story Town. Classic sounding Tom Petty. The Stan's drumming on this is great. I love Stan. I thought he was a great drummer. He was the backbone of this band. You Got Lucky. Okay, they've slipped in a bit of 80s keyboard, but it's a good track. I don't mind it. Deliver Me, my second favourite track on the album. Some pretty cool guitar riffs on this. Once again, Stan's drumming is outstanding. Change of Heart, a typical start with the sort of two guitars ringing through your headphones when you put this on. It's a very strong track. Finding Out. Again, it's just that wonderful guitar work between Mike and Tom that really makes this song shine. Then we have We Stand a Chance, a great bass line from Howie, and Stan's drumming backs it up. It's very tight engine room on this one. Straight Into Darkness is next. It does what it says on the tin. You know it's Tom Petty from that first chord. That's a Tom Petty song. Yeah, that's how good it is. My favourite though is a little track called The Same Old You. Stan's drumming is outstanding on here. A powerful riff on this. Don't know if it's Michael or Tom, but it really is a powerful riff, and the vocal on this is brilliant. Then we have Between Two Worlds. Very good track. Ron Blair doing the bass line. You can definitely hear that. You can tell the difference between Ron and Howie's bass playing. I think Howie's is a more heavier sound. Ron's is a more delicate but a groove. And the last track is called A Wasted Life. One of my favourites on here. It's a bit different. It's a curveball track. Doesn't fit with the rest of the album, but it's a very good track. This is an excellent album, even though it's got that curveball at the end. It just doesn't fit the album, but I do like the song. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, then coming in at number 7, we've got the 12th album from 2010, Mojo. It's Tom, Mike, Beaumont, Scott, Ron, Blair's back on the bass now, Steve Ferrone on the drums. First track on this one is called Jefferson Jericho Blues. Great opening track, great bluesy number. I do love the harmonica played by Scott on this, really cool. First Flash of Freedom, a really good track, wonderful bass line from Ron. Some fine drumming here from Steve as well. They are the glue of that song. Running Man's Bible, another classic bass line. The guitar work from Mike and Tom is great on this. They worked so well together all over these years, not just on the Petty albums, but they obviously Mike worked with Tom on his solo albums. The Trip to Pirate Coves, classic song. I love this. It's one of their, what I call their classic older songs. It's just brilliant. There's some nice guitar work on here from Michael. Candy, my favourite track on here. That chunky bass line from Ron. You know, he was never one heavy, but he got a really nice chunky bass line on this one. The guitar work is really good on this one as well. And that's why it's my favourite. No Reason to Cry. It's just, you know, they churned out some great tracks. This is one of them. It's just pure guitar and a great vocal. I should have known it. The start of this is just that classic Tom Petty start. The guitars, the drums come in. Great vocal. US 41, another track that sounds very similar to Bob Dylan. I love the acoustic guitar on this, it's fantastic. Taking My Time, another great bluesy song. The bass line from Ron is killer. Let Yourself Go, another excellent blues track. The keyboards from Beaumont are pretty cool. Another person that doesn't get enough mention. He was a fine keyboard player. Up next we have, I've lost my place, the thing's gone all silly. Where did we get to? Sorry folks. Yeah, Don't Pull Me Over, there we are. Sorry, what happened, the mouse jammed and then it went up too far up. Now Don't Pull Me Over's got a bit of a reggae feel to it, and Ron's bass line is a lovely reggae bass line. I love that. Lover's Touch, another great blues track. Fine vocal from Tom. High in the Morning. What makes this is, again, it's Beaumont's electric piano. I love electric piano, and it really adds something to this track on this. Something Good Coming. Some really nice guitar in this all the way through. The rhythm that Tom produces is great. And Scott, great number, bluesy number, and Good Enough comes next, which is the last track. Another great track. Fine guitar work from Mike on this, on the lead. It's another bluesy number. I really like this album. It's a bit of a bluesy album. It's a great album from top to bottom. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. I don't know what's up with my throat this morning. Sounds like I've swallowed meths. Okay, coming in at number 6 from 2002, the 11th album, The Last DJ. On here we've got Tom, Mike, Beaumont and Scott. Ron on the bass as well. Mike Campbell plays some bass on here as well. and Steve Ferrone on the drums. We've got Joe Byron, orchestral conductor. Lindsey Buckingham again, just the backing vocals on The Man Who Loves Woman, and Lenny Castro does a little bit of percussion. So the first track on here is the title track, The Last DJ. As always, it's always soothing when you put on the first track of a Tom Petty album and you know what you're going to get. And you do. One of my favourite tracks on the album. Just classic sounding Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Money Becomes King. I do love Bermont's keyboards on this. It really adds to this. It's a great vocal from Tom as well on that one. Then we have Dreamville. Love the start of this. That lovely piano from Bermont. Then in comes Tom and Mike on the guitars. Gives the whole flavour to the track. Joe, my second favourite track on here, but it's got such a very prominent riff that really strikes you. My favourite on here is a little track called When a Kid Goes Bad. It's a very melodic sound, and I love that. I love the end bit. This riff seems to get stronger and stronger. And the drums seem to get powerful and powerful. It's a really good track. Like a Diamond, a nice gentle track. It's a slower track, really nice. Lost Children, brilliant track. I love the riffs on this. It's got that typical Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers riffs. Blue Sunday, another nice slow track, really good. You and Me, quirky. One of the traits of Tom Petty, very quirky. The Man Who Loves a Woman. Now this is the one that you got Lindsey Buckingham doing the backing vocals. Yeah, you can hear it. Really strong backing vocal. It's a little bit different. There's some nice keyboards in here from Bermont. The words are great. It's a good solid track. Have Love Will Trother. Slowish. Got a nice swing to it as well. It's a really nice track. And then the last track, Can't Stop the Sun. This is one of them tracks. It starts off nice and slow and gentle, and all about halfway through it comes in with a great rock. The transition between the slow movement and the fast movement is fantastic. Great track. Another pretty solid album from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Another, as I said, a very consistent band. They put out some fine material and there's some great stuff on here. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, the top 5 are the classics. So coming in at number 5, it's the second album from 1978. You're Gonna Get It. So on here we've got Tom, Mike, Bermont, Ron, Stan Lynch. Additional musicians, Phil Seymour, no less, doing backing vocals on Magnolia, and Noah Shark doing some percussion. Opens up with a great track. I love this track, one of my favourite of all time. When the Time Comes. The harmony singing on this is fantastic. They could all sing. That's another thing I like about this band. They can all sing. It's a solid track. Then we got You're Gonna Get It. It's just one of them great mid-80s rock tracks. I love Bermont's piano on this. Absolutely brilliant. Up next is Hurt. Stan's drums are so solid. He is so tight. You know, he doesn't miss a beat. And then you've got some lovely sort of harmonising guitars from Mike and Tom. Fantastic. Then we have Magnolia. Good track. You know, this has got Phil Seymour doing the backing vocals. Good singer. And it really works. Too Much Ain't Enough. Another of my favourite tracks by the band. It's my second favourite on here. It's that sort of typical early sound that they had. It's the shuffle drum beat from Stan that really, it's outstanding. Excellent track. Then we've got I Need to Know. Great rocker. I love the guitar solo on here from Mike. Top draw. Listen to Her Heart. Solid rocker. The piano work on this is fantastic from Bermont. So is Ron's bass line. very, very good. No second thoughts. Now this is one of them sort of country sounding. It's a little bit different for the album, but it really works and I do like it. My favourite track on here, and another, this is getting my top 10, Restless. The drum roll at the beginning from Stan's pretty good. In comes Tom and Mike before Ron puts in the bass line. Just a great track. Baby's a rock and roller. The title just tells you what it's going to be. And it's a fine drum performance here from Stan. He hits them drums hard. Very hard hitting drummer with Stan Lynch. Great track to close the album, sorry. A great album with no filler. Absolutely brilliant album. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay then, coming in at number 4. This is from 1991. And it's Into the Great Wide Open. Tom Petty, Mike Campbell, Vermont Tench, Howie Epstein, Stan Lynch, Jeff Lynne, because he produced it, Roger McGinn, and the wonderful Richard Tandy plays on 2 lung singers. This opens up with one of my favourite songs, Learning to Fly. It's an absolute classic. Brilliant playing, and then you've got the production of Jeff Lynne on top of it. It's just an incredible track. I do love that. Kings of the Highway, another great track. Beautifully produced, of course, because it's Jeff Lynne. I do like the bass line on this. Stan's drumming is fantastic on it. It's a spleen. Then we have the title track, Into the Great Wide Open. Jeff Lynne, you know Jeff Lynne's playing on this. You can hear his backing vocals as well. Tom's great on that as well. Jeff got the best out of Tom sometimes. It's fantastic. Then we have the 2 Gunslickers. This is just like ELO and the Heartbreakers joining forces. It's got so many. It's got elements of Tom Petty. It's got elements of ELO, especially the synthesizer bit from Richard Tandy. Fantastic. I love this track. The Darker the Sun. I think this is a great track. One that it's got every element of Tom Petty in the Heartbreakers. The lovely guitars, but it's got that Jeff Lynne production sound on it as well. All or Nothing, terrific. The guitar work from Mike and on this is brilliant. And you've got Tom and Jeff in the background on their guitars. It's great. All the Wrong Reasons, a nice song. I like the mandolin on there. You don't expect to hear a bit of mandolin, but we do. Too Good to Be True, classic sounding Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Out in the Cold, great rock and roll number. Some great drumming on here from Stan. Making Some Noise, really heavy rock and roll track this is. Yeah, you know it's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and you know who produced it. That's Built to Last. It's definitely the last track on the album, Syndrome. It's not the best track. I think this is a terrific album. A great band, a great producer, lots of influences of ELO and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on here. It's a joy to listen to, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3, we have the debut album from 1976. And it's just called, of course, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So it's Tom, Mike, Vermont, Ron, Stan. I've got some extras on here as well. We've got Jeff Gerard on electric guitar on a few tracks. Donald Duck Dunn on the bass on track 3. We've got Emroy Gordy on bass on track 6. Randall Marsh drums on track 3. And Jim Gordon drums on track 6. So the first track is a brilliant opener, and it's Rocking Around With You. First thing you notice is Ron Blair's bass track. Brilliant. And a great vocal from Tom. I do like that track. Breakdown, second favourite track on here. It's a solid track. The drumming's brilliant on here. Absolutely brilliant. Cool track. Hometown Blues is the next track. Brilliant bass line from Donald Dunn. I love Donald Dunn. He was a cool dude. It's a great track. Great vocal from Tom on that. The Wild One, another great track. It's a melodic track, but it's a great vocal from Tom. I do like that. Anything that's rock and roll, it's raw, and it's got that sort of pub rock feel to it. That new sort of sound, that pub rock sound, the new wave sound. That's what I like about it. It's probably one of the heaviest tracks they ever did. Strangered in the Night is next. Great guitar work on here from Mike and Tom. I like the distortion on it as well. Full de la, again, I don't like it. I love this track. I love the beginning, the sound effects, the drumming on this one. I think it's Stan. It's brilliant. Mystery Man, another classic track from Tom Petty. I love the guitar work on this. This is one of my favourite songs of all time. Luna. This is more gentle. Great bass line from Ron, a great rocker. And the last track is my favourite track, of course, and it's American Girl. Probably one of the best known tracks by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It is my favourite. It's just a classic. For a debut album, this is a well polished album from the band. They hit the ground running with this album. It's still got some of my favourite tracks on here. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then, coming in at number 2, we got the fourth album from 1981, Hard Promises. So it's Tom, Mike, Beaumont, Ron, Stan. Additional musicians: Stevie Nicks, backing vocals on Inside Out and You Can Still Change Your Mind. Laurie Nicks, backing vocals on Inside. Sharon Selaney, backing vocals on You Can Still Change Your Mind. Donald Duck Dunn's back for doing a little bit of bass on Woman in Love. So the first track is The Waiting. Signature drumming on here from Stan. Then you got the lovely guitars coming in. Love that. A Woman in Love. Again, great song, classic sounding. Plus you've got Donald Duck Dunn on it playing the bass. Pretty cool track. Up next is Night Watch. Man, one of my favourites. Stan's drumming is outstanding on here. It's then the guitar work from Mike is something big. Stan's drumming again and Beaumont's keyboards, they sort of interplay very well. Stan's drumming is really heavy. Beaumont's keyboards are just in the background, keeping everyone in check. Really good. Great track. King's Road, classic sounding Heartbreakers, all the ingredients, the great twin guitar, the lovely keyboard bits from Beaumont, solid engine room of Ron and Stan holding the song together. Brilliant song. Letting You Go, what a riff. Oh. And that lovely little bit of keyboard from Beaumont is fantastic. A Thing About You, one of the countryest sort of style songs I used to do. It's a great track. Insider. Stevie Nicks is fantastic on here. Her and Tom's, they sort of complement each other. And there's that sort of, did they or didn't they? They were very good friends. They really complement each other on that. The Criminal Mound, Mark Kind. I love the interplay between the guitars. It's all like they're talking to each other from Tom and Mike. And then we have Stevie Nicks doing more backing vocals on the last track, You Can Still Change Your Mind. Great album, another solid top to bottom album. Stevie Nicks' backing vocals on them two tracks are fantastic. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. But my favourite Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album has to be this one. It's their third album from 1979. And it's Damn the Torpedoes. Tom, Mike, Beaumont. Ben Mont, sorry. Ron Blair, Stan Lynch, Donald Dunn, and Jim Kelter. There's a bit of thing. Opens up with one of my favourite songs, Refugee, a classic. Great guitar work, catchy tune, brilliant track. Here Comes My Girl, one of my favourite songs by Tom. I love the guitars on here. It's absolutely brilliant. Even the Losers, love the start of this with Stan's great bass line, and Stan's drums that keep coming in and out. Very Dire Straits as well. I think that's what I like about it. Shadow of a Doubt, A Complex Kid. Again, another track that's got that feel of a Dire Straits song. They were both doing very similar sort of music at the time. Very guitar based, fantastic track. Century City. The start of this is wonderful. Then you got Ben Mont's lovely keyboard piece on that. Great track, and some great drums from Stan. One of his best drumming performances, I think. Then we have Don't Do It Like That, one of the classic songs. Now, what I like about this one, it does remind me some of them British bands at the time, or them artists, Elvis Costello, Graham Parker. It's got that sort of sound to it. It's really good, and that's why I love it. You Tell Me, the drumming from Stan is brilliant. Ben Mont's keyboards are brilliant on it as well. A great vocal from Tom, top to bottom stuff. What Are You Doing in My Life? The piano, it's proper rock and roll piano. It's a great little rock and roll number, and Tom's vocals are outstanding. Then we have the last track, which is the wonderful Louisiana Rain. I like the funny sequencing at the beginning. It's a melodic track. It's probably my favourite slow track that Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers did, and they did many, but this seems to be outstanding. Okay, there's so many of my favourite songs on this album. I love listening to this album, always have. When I put this on, I put it on loud. There's so many great albums, but this one just still is outstanding. It stands above the rest. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So there we go. There is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Do look out though that we haven't finished with Tom Petty, because we're going to go through a couple of more as time goes on. So yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this one. This one was a joy to do, because you know what you're going to get, and it was just very hard to rank this. Okay, that's all for today. I don't know where the sun's gone. It did come out, but it's disappeared. It was out earlier today, but it's before I did this, but it's gone in now. Okay, that's all for today. Tomorrow is a busy day. I've got so much going on tomorrow. It's unbelievable. Firstly, we've got 3 videos to do, and the first one we're going to do tomorrow is a birthday top 10 for Justin in America. Then we've got the sophomore drone, which is Pink Floyd against Hawkwind. And then we've got a mixing it up, and we're going to be looking at the work of Eddie Kramer. And then tomorrow night, of course, is live stream. And in between that, Rocky's going to the vets for his MOT. So, yeah, busy old day, as they say. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.